The Elizabeth line is open and running, and let's face it, it's changed London for the better.
But today we're going to wind back the clock to the first day and meet the driver who took out the first train.
Hello everybody, welcome to Series 6 of the Hidden London Hangouts. Now we are at episode 99, we are so close to our century, and today's episode is going to take you on a train, on a journey, and meet people who made a huge difference to the Elizabeth line on day number 1. I don't do this on my own. The crew is back after their summer holidays, and I'm delighted to say, first of all, Chris Nix from the London Transport Museum, you've brought your great health with you as well.
Indeed, yes. Celebrated coming back from holiday by having a dirty great cold as well. But still, can't think of a better way to shake it off than going back over this. What a great trip it was.
It was a great old day. And Siddy Holloway, you're back as well. You brought your health too.
Yeah, it seems like all of us came back from holiday with a little something in our luggage. But I'm getting back there. The only thing that I'm struggling still with is a bit of jet lag. It's always a tough one coming back from the from America back to England. But I'm so excited to be back.
I thought you were going to say I get a bit of jet lag when I go to Barking. But Laura Hilton-Brown, my gorgeous girl, have you got your health with you at all?
Well, you see, I was doing okay. I was doing absolutely fine. And then this morning I've woken up with a bit of a cold. And I haven't seen these two, Chris and Siddy, so it's definitely not from them, so I can't finger point and blame them. But it's been a lovely summer, and it does feel quite weird to be back in this seat. How about you guys?
You know, weird, very, very weird. My summer consisted of a broken tooth, high blood pressure, and the need for new glasses. So you'll be seeing a lot of these specs in these episodes, because what I've suddenly realised is these are long distance lenses, thanks to London Transport pointing out the fact that I would fail an eye test. I am now looking, it's hilarious, whenever I'm filming in a station, I'm looking through the glasses, seeing things in the great distance in clarity, but my own phone screen is blurred. So a couple of times in episodes coming up, you're going to see me going, that's not even in focus. It's my glasses, not the phone. It's ridiculous.
Oh, Alex, you need to get one of those chains, you know, like those sort of granny chains that you can get and drop it down. Sorry, what is that, darling?
It's great. When I was a kid, I wanted 3 things out of life.
EastEnders.
He's already peering over them.
Yeah, I do. I do this now all the time. So I wanted to be called Charlie. My favourite name in the world is Charlie. I wanted to have tortoiseshell glasses and look like the boy next door. Well, finally, at the age of 45, 1 out of 3 ain't bad. So we're doing all right. So today, we are off to the Elizabeth line on a very, very special journey, because on day 1, there were some very brilliant drivers who drove those first trains, one going one way, one going the other. And today we're meeting one of them. And Chris, it was me and you, it was a boys' day out. Quite a remarkable journey, actually, because we've never done cab rides on that line, have we?
Well, we have been into the cab briefly, but we haven't done the through running of it. And it's always a great opportunity when you get to do that, even though it was a bit of an early start to do it.
It was. See, Siddy and Laura, you'd love all that, but Mr. Nix was not a happy bunny when he had to get up and be there for 8:30 in the morning.
Yes.
Can I just say,
I'm such a
you
morning
were happy about it, Alex, because it was your next station down. I had to drag myself from the other side of town. That's why I wasn't happy about it.
I was cock-a-hoop at that deployment, I can tell you. But girls, you're going to love this today. And as I say, we're going to meet Emma Knowles, who is such a fan of the Hangouts as well. I didn't realise until we got there. More on that a little bit later. But we're going to go on a journey from Abbey Wood down to Liverpool Street underground, and then we're going to take the overland section of the Elizabeth line from Liverpool Street out into the start of Essex. It's going to be beautiful. So take a look at this and meet our friends.
So it feels quite early, Alex. What are we doing here?
Well, I don't know about you, but I love wearing high visors all the time now. And I just borrowed a very, very nice Elizabeth line one today.
Just make sure you give it back.
I'm a magpie, what can I say? The reason we're here so early at Abbey Wood is because we were offered the opportunity, or rather we were snagging the opportunity. We really wanted the chance to talk to the very, very first driver on the Elizabeth line.
Brilliant.
And she's adorable. Not only that, come on in, Emma. Emma Knowles is, well, as seen on TV.
Good morning.
Nice to meet
I'm not
you.
going to do that. Hello, gorgeous. Emma is actually, she loves the Hidden London Hangouts as well. And
Brilliant.
you were the first driver to take a train out of Paddington on day 1, weren't you?
I was.
Now, can I just ask a very, very cheeky question? Did you put lippy on for that?
No.
Because I thought you had beautiful red lips on that thing. I thought you looked amazing.
Are you flirting with
I
me?
may well be flirting with you for all sorts of reasons. I want so much out of you today because we want to know everything about what that experience was like. Also, how did you become a train driver? Because it's everybody's dream job. What is it like to drive this line?
It's amazing. It's just, it is literally just amazing. It's everything. I love it. I love it.
You can tell from when you're on the television, your face lights up, you look so delighted. Even your PA announcements, public address announcements are chirpy and cheerful.
I probably annoy everybody, but I do just love everything about it. I love the earlies, I love the lates, the middles. It's just perfect. I love it.
Is it true you used to be a bus driver as well?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
So how do you find it driving something without the wheel? Did that take a bit of getting used to?
It's got no indicators, has it?
There's no indicators. It's still the transport industry with regards to passengers, London, things like that. So to me, it was like a natural progression almost. But I loved the buses, and I now love the Elizabeth line.
When we were having a natter earlier, you said to me that you thought all drivers of trains should be bus drivers first. Why is that?
It's just that interaction with the passengers, because different times of day is different style of passenger as to where they're going, what they're doing, and I just like for Transport for London. So it's, to me, it's that
it makes sense to understand the passenger, I suppose, and then you can, even though you're in a cab away from them, at least you know who is behind you on that train.
Yes.
Because we're always quite grumpy, aren't we, in the mornings and in the evenings? We're always quite grumpy commuters.
Oh, as passengers, yes.
Yeah, we're always quite grumpy. I always try and be chirpy, but we are more grumpy. But during the day, I guess you get a lot more people who are just travelling for leisure.
Yep, a lot of like families in the school holidays and that. So you've got families. They're normally the ones that can be a little bit lost, maybe. So you can almost see that they're not quite sure if they're going the right direction. Yeah, it's just different times of days is the different style of passenger.
I'm very excited to watch this, by the way, and get in the cab with Emma, because we've seen it from the rear view on one of our previous episodes. We've never done driver's eye, and of course I live up in Woolwich, so I'm really looking forward to coming into Woolwich and seeing it through the driver's cab, because they are all beautiful stations. Have you got a favourite?
Within the cause, Tottenham Court Road, because it's on a bend.
Oh, nice idea, yes.
Custom House, because it's out in the open.
Yeah.
So they've all got their little, yeah.
And you had a nice easy commute this morning, didn't you?
Yeah,
One
I did,
stop
yeah.
down the line.
So just to give you an idea of what happened, Scott, who is our man who can at the Elizabeth line, said, we were going to meet at Paddington, and he said, could you possibly meet at Abbey Wood an hour earlier? Yes, I can. I've come one stop. So it's been great. Unfortunate for you, Christopher, it's been a bit more of a schlep.
Worth the journey.
And of course, your lovely motorbike is parked outside. Bit of a speedster. Are we going to be sticking to the speed limits on this one today?
Yes, because my manager is there.
Good point. Good point.
It is still very much the fastest way to get through town, unless you've got a helicopter, I guess, really, isn't it?
You know,
60 mile an hour through.
Totally. You know, I said to you when we were doing the episodes, I said the Elizabeth line has shrunk London. We've come up with a new line.
Oh.
It's the coolest place in London. Because it
Literally
really is.
in the summer,
The aircon is brilliantly fierce. I love it. So listen, we're going to go with you on the train today. I can't wait. This is the exciting bit, Emma, because we're getting in your cab with you. I shouldn't get so excited, but you've got the key and the secret, haven't you?
I have.
Just like the Urban Cookie Collective. This is exciting, Christoph.
Isn't it?
Go on.
No, you go next. In you go.
Oh, look at this. This is too fabulous. Somewhere to even charge your phone. This is good, Emma.
Please don't lean on that.
On that button there, what does that do?
That's the emergency stop.
Right, tell me what happens if I do.
We won't be going anywhere.
Right, okay. Good, well spotted. Maximum speed 90 miles an hour in this train. Have you ever hit 90 on this train?
On the going out towards Reading, and obviously coming back, then we do 90 miles an hour.
You're a bit of a speedster.
I do like it.
You've got a motorbike, haven't you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Have yourself a seat in your beautiful train.
Thank you.
This is absolutely stunning. Chris is just behind Chris Bevan-Lee on camera today, and I'm fascinated by all these buttons as well. There's an awful lot going on here, isn't there?
There's quite a lot going on. So I'm going to okay for me to?
Yeah, go for it. You
Okay.
can do what you've got to do.
Thank you.
I believe it's crosstown traffic, isn't it? 90 miles an hour, baby. Speed I drive.
Well done.
I
That's
think
very,
that's
very
a bit of-
impressive.
bit of Jimi
There's
Hendrix.
another phone charger socket here as well, Chris.
It's very handy.
So I'll
You're
put that-
perpetually in need of charge.
I'm
aren't
always
you? Especially
pleased
in
to
the
know when
morning.
there's power.
Just plug you in.
Like the
Be ready to go.
Duracell bunny. So going through the introduction at the moment, I presume, Mr. Nix and Emma, you're punching in the details of you as a driver, are you?
Yep, just giving all the train all its information that it needs. I'm now currently giving it its head code, which we on the diagram, and then we take from our starting
Yeah.
marker board.
And head code is what?
Head code is us.
Yeah, the train and the driver, is
Yes.
it?
So in the signaller, they know who we are.
They know it's lovely Emma.
I don't know if they know that bit.
And this train, it says up there, up on the top there, 345008, but a little dicky bird tells me that you actually took out, on day one, you took out 345001. That was your train that day.
001.
Number one.
Yes, yep, number one.
So exciting. So exciting. When we get going, I want to know how it felt to drive that train. But this is so cool. So what time are we departing?
We are departing at exactly 9:30.
So we've got 4 minutes. Fabulous. While we've got a couple of seconds, just give us a quick tour of what these buttons all do. So what we're looking at the minute?
So this is our air conditioning. So we're going to put that so it's nice and cold.
That's my girl.
Good work.
It's roasting it.
So tail lights, headlights. When you switch off, the front headlights will go to tail lights.
Right.
And then when you start up, it knows basically where you're starting up.
And just like a car, headlights are white, tail lights are red.
Yes.
Just like a car.
Just like a car,
Okay.
exactly the same as a car. So this lights is so that we can put our Sheilas
See in the dark.
on there and we can still read them.
What did you call it? Sheila's?
Yeah, a Sheila.
A Sheila?
Yes.
I like a Sheila.
It's the. Am I right in saying that it's the program that they're all written from?
Sheila?
It's called Sheila.
Wow.
Welcome.
So,
It's nice to give it a name.
We
isn't
want
it?
a
Makes it
rotating
more
system
personal.
called Sheila.
So we've got. We're not going to touch them, obviously,
Yep.
because we're a right side platform. But we've got our left doors and we've got our right doors.
I also noticed there's the buttons with pan up and pan down.
Yes, pantograph.
So that's for the overhead catenary, isn't it?
Yes.
To pick up
Power.
the power.
Yeah.
Because there is no third or fourth rail.
No, absolutely. And then you've got this system here. This is the computer, presumably, is it?
Yeah, this is your. So you've got everything on here. So we could have. We could do messages for passengers to let them know. So we've got CCTV. We could, if we wanted to. I'm getting all confused. So we could see the front of the train or the back of the train.
Oh wow! Like you've got reversing lights on this train.
You just go back to the messages there. The
Priority
the
or
one that you just had up
I
there.
think I put priority on then.
Yeah, there you go. You see, problem
Wow.
near the railway. That's us.
Yes, we are the problem near the railway. And that one, if you were to push that, it would say, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're on," like the red signal. We're being held at a red signal.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
would. So it would save me actually saying it, so that the customers, passengers would know
Brilliant.
what's going on.
And then this is your speedometer.
Yes, this is my circular speed gauge.
Nice work.
Hello.
Circular speed gauge.
Yeah.
Lovely. And then you've got one of those special buttons as well.
Yes, I've got one. Your man's got one over there. So yes.
Yeah, Chris on camera, don't touch that. Apparently that's an emergency stop. That's really dangerous because we will end up stopping, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, so leaning on the door on that side is not a good thing.
Any moment now, we are going to get a notification that we need to close our doors.
Alex, I'm surprised you haven't gone straight for your favourite button in the whole wide world.
Which one's that? The PA
Whistle.
button. Oh, whistle. Love a whistle.
Right, closing doors.
I'm filming this now, Emma, just because you're just so fantastic. And here we go. We're leaving Abbey Wood. Oh, wondrous. So Emma, take us back to day number one.
Day number 1.
Yeah,
This
and
is the train to Paddington.
oh, so good.
Would you like me to cancel her out?
Next station,
No,
Woolwich.
she's all good. Take us back to the first day when you were driving that first train. How did it feel as people were pouring onto that train?
It was because I'd been lucky enough to be involved in the testing, so I'd been coming down to the platforms, seeing them empty. So seeing the passengers on the first day, there was just so many of them.
If you see something
It
that
was
doesn't look right,
almost daunting.
Yeah.
There was
or
so
text
many
British Transport
people.
Police on
But it was
61016.
exciting. It
We'll
was.
sort it.
It just
See
felt
it, say it, sorted.
like everybody's hard work. You could tell everybody who was there wanted it to be a success, and I personally think it has been and continues to be a success.
It's beautiful. And let's be honest, there was a little bit of nerves on that first train, wasn't there? You were
Yes.
very excitable but quite
Yes.
nervous.
Yes.
Do you still enjoy that moment of excitement when you drive a train?
Yes, I just love it. I just love everything about it. I mean, some of my colleagues take the mickey out of me a little bit because I view a train like a wild animal, so that the minute you take it for granted, that's when it's gonna bite you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you have a healthy respect for the rules, but also
Yeah.
you just love what you do. I mean,
I love it. It's one of those things that I truly have got a job that doesn't feel like a job because I just love it so much.
it's so lovely. And is train driving the best job in the world?
I think it is. Yeah. I think that everybody should do it. So.
And can I just say, by the way, I'm very, very flattered that you watch our Hidden London Hangouts. I didn't realise, when you came up to me and said I'm fangirling, I didn't think you actually meant us. I thought it was me to you. So this is a mutual admiration society. And this is my home station, this is Woolwich.
This is a good one because obviously you've got your pillars,
You've got all the way through with all the different tiles on from
Yeah.
the different military groups, yeah?
So, as we're pulling away here, we can see that we've got the walkway on the right-hand
This is the
side.
train to
What's that
Paddington.
used for?
Next
So
station, Custom House.
if we was to have the unfortunate
Change
to
for
break down
DLR.
or need to get our passengers safely to back to the station or to a train, if we was being recovered by a train, then they can walk along here. And we also keep within the train, we've got slightly smaller wheelchairs so that we can.
Wow,
So the wheelchairs that we carry with us will fit nicely.
that's really well thought out. You sort of cantilever it off the side of the tunnel, isn't it? But that's so much safer than having to evacuate down the tracks in, say,
Yes.
a tube tunnel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully, not ever necessary, but great to know it's there. I love this sort of sense of roller coasters. We dived down into the tunnel before to approach Woolwich, and now we're coming up a quite a
This
rate,
is the
aren't we?
Silvertown bit, and you'll feel your belly go because it goes up and then it dips down again into the Connaught Tunnel, the really old one.
Yeah.
And I mean, I now use this line every day, and I look at this. Just look at
Wow.
it. It's incredible, and I can honestly say it has completely changed my life.
I remember this as the old Silverlink service coming down here on much older trains, much slower than this.
We're literally just coming into what was Silvertown Station here. That was the old bridge, and when it was North London Line, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yes, of course it was North London Line.
North London Line before. And look, the trains. But we are so lucky, Nixie, to get the opportunity to do this.
It's fabulous. It's a completely different experience seeing it out the front, isn't it?
Yeah, I knew that it would be good. I was just so glad when we were allowed to talk to Emma, because for me, having seen you on the telly, Emma, it was so lovely because you just clearly love your job.
We're under the river now, aren't we?
Yeah,
And this
and
is
we're
the
under the
tunnel.
water, under docks.
Yes.
But this is the really old tunnel that they had to do loads and loads of work to in order to make it water. Well, as watertight.
the old arch.
Isn't it great? And we're doing what, like 47 miles an hour. It's remarkable how quickly we travel through town now.
Quiet, so smooth,
Yeah.
isn't it? I mean, to be able to have this sort of conversation level
Yeah,
in a driver's
Next
cab is
station,
stunning.
Custom House.
it's just gorgeous. I love it, love it, love it.
So at this point, the train's handling the braking.
Yep,
Yeah.
train's
You're-
doing everything.
They're guarding it in case it decides not to.
Yes, in case, yeah, as an off day.
And again, we can see ahead. There's a fair old plunge down into another.
Oh, yeah.
tunnel, isn't there?
Are you a roller coaster fan, Nixie?
I'm rapidly becoming one.
What about you, Emma? When you go to theme parks, do you ever get the chance to go to theme parks? Do you ever do that?
Oh, Ben Bon Brothers, Margate.
Ben Bon Brothers! Love it, love it. Are you a bit of a daredevil on the
This
quiet?
is the train to
Uh,
Paddington. Next
maybe.
station,
Good
Canary
work.
Wharf.
I mean, train driving is one of those things, isn't it, that's so responsible yet fun. It must be really nice to have a job which is respected but also so enjoyable.
It's I think it's the best, absolutely the best.
If you weren't being a driver, what would you do? What would you be?
Oh,
Any other job, a little profession that you sort of look at and think, oh, I could do that? I'd like to run a bar in Portugal, if that helps.
I could be a barmaid.
Could
for
you want to be a barmaid?
Yeah, I'll be a barmaid for
All
you.
right, okay. Well, I'll be Alec Gilroy, you could be Bet.
All right then.
That'd be all right, wouldn't it? Yeah, we could do this, we could do this.
Do you think you'd be safe
This
to
is
run a
the train
bar?
to Paddington.
Well, I'm sure Emma would hold me under control. I would imagine that I won't be drinking the profits, put it that way.
A sign that says Alex Grundon licensed to sell intoxicating spirits is a worrying.
Liquor? He's never done it before. So here we go again, and down we go, and this is where we go into darkness for the entirety of time to Paddington, isn't it, basically?
Yes, now we are. Yep, now we are in the tunnels that have been bored out, which is an engineering marvel. So
Wow,
Well,
we're really picking up speed
Oh,
here,
yeah.
doing 60 now.
60 miles an hour.
Right.
And you know, the really weird thing about this is, and I remember when we were talking about the Elizabeth line, when we were talking Mark Wilde, the old boss, and everyone else, they were all saying that 60 miles an hour it's impossible to create at street level. So this is only something that can be done in a tunnel. And I just think it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
So I mean, these trains themselves are worth a mention, aren't they? The sheer size of them, the different systems that they've got to run on. So it's a class 345. Is that the combination to your gin cabinet?
Yes,
Alex?
it is the 345. I'm so sorry, Emma. I've got a reputation, apparently, but it's true. Class 345s, and this is this is 9 cars long, isn't it? So 9 carriages long, all
Apparently
constituting
it's suffering
together.
from flu.
FLU, whatever that is.
What does the FLU stand for?
Do we know what FLU stands for?
full length unit.
Ah, good
There we
work.
go.
That was a bit Alan Partridge when we did that. It was good work. And they are, I mean, they look like, I mean, computers control these things, don't they? They are computer controlled, but they always have the opportunity for you to intervene if needs be. And I noticed you've just touched your foot. Is that the control to keep you awake, basically?
Next station, Canary Wharf.
Yeah, the
Is it vigilance control,
the
isn't it?
vigilance. You can either do it with the foot, or you could do. We have a button here.
Yeah.
Which
And how often do you have to do that in order to tell the train that you are still with it?
60 seconds.
Oh, really?
So
Every
it's
minute?
Every minute. Yeah.
The good news is, for anybody watching, if you want to have a go at driving one of these, then we have a brilliant simulator of one of these at London Transport Museum with the voice of the train, Sidney Holloway,
Oh, cute.
guiding
Bit-
me through the process of doing
Bit
it.
of the Sidster. What's that blue light up there, by the way?
That lets us. So the platform edge doors,
Yep.
or the PEDs. So when they're closed,
Canary
that will be
Wharf.
blue.
Yep.
This
When
is
they're
the
open,
train
that will
to
be off.
Paddington.
We've also
Next
got on here.
station,
We've got so
Whitechapel.
PEDs open.
Yep.
And when that closes, that will go blue. I'll get interlock, so that'll be blue, and then this will say PEDs closed as well. So we know all the systems are closed. Everybody's safe. Everybody's on. either the train or the platform, and we're safe to go.
And that interlock is basically between the train and the platform edge doors, so that neither system can open the doors without it being in the right place.
Right.
And there being a train there.
Yeah.
So the train is obviously driving itself, but you have to be capable of driving it, don't you?
Yes.
And what do you use to control it if you are doing that?
So we've got our TBC controller, traction brake controller. So at the moment it's in 100% brake because the train is driving itself. I could still push that forward, and that would give me an emergency brake in the system that we're in at the moment. But if we was to drive manually, then if I was to pull it back, that would become my accelerator. So if I was to lean on that now, emergency brakes would come on along also.
So this is a bit like cruise control, in a funny sort of way. It's doing what it's doing, but you don't have to touch it.
Yes.
But if you nudge it or do anything with it, then it becomes you're in control.
Yeah.
Okay.
Autopilot for trains.
Autopilot for trains. And under London, the fastest speed we go is 60 miles an hour, isn't it? Is that right?
62.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And where is the fastest point on this line off the top of your head? Do you remember?
I
I didn't ask you this before, but...
So the Connaught Tunnel is 50 miles per hour.
Right.
So basically that's the only section when it's automatic that it's 50 miles an hour.
Yep.
So wherever we are, we can get to 60, 61, 62 miles per hour.
I noticed that dial just changed.
So marker board,
Yep.
distance to event.
Boom.
Boom.
That's it, yep.
So we need to be within this, and the speed is coming down because it's coming into the platform.
Oh, that's
I
interesting.
see. So it's kind of a target speed.
Allowable
is shifting
speed, yeah.
Yeah.
Based on waypoints.
So that marker board there is our distance to event. So we are going to be, because we've only got permission to go as far as that marker board,
Yep.
that's why it's solid
To zero.
So it's basically the speed we're at is below where it could be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That white line is the absolute outside of where it'd have to be to stop in time.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, you caught me on the hop then.
No, you were good. It's very good.
Get everybody on, everybody off. When that gets to about 20, that's when you'll hear that we've got our movement authority. Shut the doors. Check nobody's there.
It's proper science behind it.
Close the doors.
And this is brakes, is it? Yeah?
That's our main air pressure.
Right. It's remarkable to think this railway line operates effectively from a push button, isn't it? I mean, to think, even when I was a kid, whenever you saw films of drivers of trains, their eyes were everywhere, weren't they? But everything was seemingly a little bit simpler back then.
Change for Central
On all of the
Hampton City,
hours of experience and software writing that sits behind doing that to emulate what a driver would do, it's just remarkable, isn't it?
And at 70 miles an hour, you need that human safeguard, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, it's just so fast. It still staggers me that, I mean, I thought it was about 60, but if 70 miles an hour is the speed limit in this...
So 70 is the line speed,
Yeah.
but the trains we do...
A bit less.
Yeah, a bit less.
There is something rather lovely about the view of a train tunnel, isn't there? You're quite mesmerised.
Just the corner speed there is incredible. You
Yeah.
know, we're going around a really heavy bend, but the track's perfectly cambered and perfectly smooth.
It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Do you ever get bored of the view?
Never. Never.
It's just so exciting.
Yeah.
Do you ever get scared of the view? You know what I mean? Like, no?
No.
Isn't that funny? Because for anyone who's scared of the dark, I'd be a bit kind of like,
Somebody who's used to speed on a motorbike at the helm.
we're getting off here. We're going to go with
We
you,
are.
and
We
we're
are.
going on.
We're
We're going to
going.
have a look at a different bit of railway because we're going to go up on what used to be TfL rail ages ago.
Workstation information for the drivers arriving and departing at Liverpool Street due to an earlier train failure and now a point failure in the Stratford area. Delays are occurring to services departing and arriving at Liverpool Street. Message ends.
Chris, you got to meet this guy. This is Keith. Now, Keith we know from a number of our trips on the Elizabeth line, because as soon as I saw him, I said, I know your face. He's everywhere, is our Keith. And we're now in the cab of the same Class 345, going out of Liverpool Street. We're going up towards, it's basically up towards one of the depots, isn't it?
So we're going up towards Shenfield. The difference now is that the train is being driven by Emma in the manual mode. So in the tunnel we was driving in automatic mode, just press the button. Here Emma's doing everything.
And that's why we must talk to you,
Chat to
not
me,
Emma.
not to Emma. So we've
Can't
got
distract.
colour light signals, we've got track points, everything. She's got to look at everything basically.
I think it is one of the remarkable things about these trains is that they've got to operate in essentially three different environments, haven't they? There's the central London zone, there's here, and then of course there's the west side of town as well.
So most of the west is manual like this, Heathrow branch, ETCS, in-cab signalling.
Yeah.
So we've got
ETCS is?
European Train Control System.
Gas, my boy. Good work.
So, just pointing out, on the right-hand side, this ski slope-looking
Yep.
structure is the entrance and exit to the central operating section.
So this is where trains will disappear down
Yep.
when they come from Essex towards central London.
That's it.
In there, just in there,
here.
in that hole. Have a look at
There.
that, Chris Bevanley, out of your window there. Woo! That is where we're going. That is so cool. So this is really interesting because the Elizabeth line was kind of the railway that could never really have been built, could it? Because it links the Great Eastern Line and the Great Western Line with a lump underground.
Exactly.
It's a very, very clever system with what effectively 2 or 3 signalling systems on there.
That's exactly right.
Why does it happen? How can it happen? How has magic made this happen?
Lots of technology,
Right.
lots of work, definitely. The testing that we've been doing in this line is the delays, most of that down to testing. Test.
It's just the systems are so fantastically complicated.
Yeah.
All have to talk to one another. All have to fail safe. And having both driver and computer-driven trains, oof, it's quite a feat to have pulled it off.
Yeah.
Without causing any delay to the service, we're going to transition, and we do now with empty trains. At the moment we are testing now. We do have empty stock comes in from this end and from the western end into the central core. So we do use it now,
Yeah.
just for empty trains. But to do that in a split second, it's an amazing bit of technology, it really is.
I think what we've seen today is that this new line is so brilliantly undulating. It goes up and down. It is like riding a beautiful roller coaster, really, in many ways.
Again, that was designed into the
Yeah,
system. Saves
for
energy.
braking and
Yeah,
accelerating.
exactly so.
It's a phenomenal railway, and seeing these new bits like the arrival into Paddington and the arrival into Liverpool Street from Stratford, these are again earth-shattering bits of technology, aren't they? Really, they are.
And the arrival into Stratford is
Which is really
we're just
pretty cool.
catching now.
Chris on camera has been brilliant today, I have to say. He's been absolutely awesome. And how did you get into all of this, by the way? Because the thing is, Keith, he's a driver manager, you know. Driver manager, we call him. Keith, the driver manager. How did you get into all this? Because it wasn't driving that you first did all those years ago.
I literally left school on a Friday and started on a signal box on the Monday. In those days we had block bells and train register books, and that was my job as a box boy, to write everything down in a ledger.
And you'll know.
Boy.
Well,
Yeah.
this is
That's
Box
a
Boy.
great job
Oh,
title.
Have that on my
What
LinkedIn.
a job title that
Box
was.
Boy.
Back in the day. But it was a great introduction to railways because I had to grow up very quickly within a couple of days because you're chatting to men, not boys at school anymore, and learn the railway from the base up really.
Sounds fabulous. One thing I was going to say to you, you let slip, and I still get quite excited about this, that you watch the Hidden London Hangouts.
Yeah.
It's just, thank you so much. We don't imagine anybody watches this stuff. But you clearly know what these bell codes at the start and end mean.
Yeah, I used to, definitely. Yeah, we had block bells all the time in the signal boxes when I first started.
See, it's always nice to find somebody who actually knows what they are. Because I remember when we first did that, I remember having to sort of convince the team
And
a
most of
little
the
bit.
signal boxes along this line, I mean Stratford signal box was just there, and Ilford, Shenfield, Brentwood, we all had box boys in. So we all knew each other as well.
Yeah.
And most of those people I started with at 16 are still in this industry, and most are drivers.
I think what's really lovely though is the personalities you get to meet, because you guys are all lovely. And what's really interesting, and I think it probably does come across on our stuff more than perhaps with anyone else, is it's all good. Is that people who work in these safety critical roles genuinely care about what they do. Genuinely care.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, and are enthusiastic about it all as well, which is beautiful.
Can you see how close the signals are on the Great Eastern Lines? So this service, or this signalling is designed for a 3-minute interval service. Even now, in the rush hour, we can run a 3-minute interval service.
3 minutes?
3-minute interval service, manual driving.
Wow.
That's why the signals are so close to each other. You'll see there's one here, next one end of the platform. So in the rush hour, the driver now, Emma's driving along, it's reasonably relaxed. In the rush hour, this is very intense. It's a very busy bit of railway.
Especially, I'd imagine, if there's ever a signal failure. That is where you really earn your money.
A train that's delayed by 1-2 minutes on this part of the line snowballs all the way back.
I bet.
Yeah.
Now, part of the thing about the braking on these trains is that you save a huge amount of energy with the braking on these, don't you? Because they're regeneratively braking.
Yeah.
So at the moment, as we're coming into the station, we're generating power back into the line.
The braking is electric as well. When we get to about sort of 3-4 mile an hour, you'll feel it go into air.
Yep.
Class braking. Disc.
I think it comes off. I think it's 12 mile an hour. I heard is where it comes off regen about here, and then
We're still in electric braking.
So you're in.
Feel the last little bit is when we go on to
Might even
retardation by
hear
a
it.
pad and a disc. There we go.
Okay,
you
you
go,
anoraks, just explain this to me. So we have regenerative braking, which is a bit like when you have an electric car, and the battery is charging as you slow down. Is that right?
That's exactly
That's
right.
regenerative braking.
Yeah, and
Rheostatic braking is what?
so that is when you're still using the motors in reverse, but you're putting it through rheostats or resistors,
Right.
and they generate heat. And then the brake pads are the last thing, which give you a much
That
more
finer.
finessed control for fine braking, but just generate heat in the pads. Now, on an older train, so pre-96 stock,
On the tube,
on the
1996 stock.
you'd be just throwing all of that energy away as heat. So either in rheostatic braking or on the brake pads. But when the 96 stock came in, that's when you're kind of first using that to put energy back into the tracks for other trains to use, saving a lot of energy and heat generation.
And on that
but now this is a much more modern system and generates a lot of that power back into the system.
What is so cool about this is when these trains are braking and they're generating electricity, it's going back into the overhead power cables. But then the bit that blows my mind is that as this train is slowing down, another train back up the line that's speeding up is using the power that this one's generating. It's like a mini power station on wheels.
It is incredible though, the amount of effort that has to go into creating the power systems that can handle that. You can't just go dumping great gobbets of power back into the system when the trains are braking. So you have to also build the substations and the power systems to handle those spikes, smooth it out, and over a big enough area that it's likely that another train is going to be using that power. So yeah, it's really clever, but it's huge amount of work to make it work. On a car, of course, as you were saying, now that people have electric cars, it's people will understand that system quite well. But that's just putting the power back into the battery, which is a much easier job than putting it back into a live running system like we have here.
It won't surprise you, Keith, to know that I'm something of a couture fan. I like to choose my clothing really carefully, and I'm very, very glad that you've loaned me your Elizabeth line tabard.
You're wearing my one today, the driver manager's tabard.
With special zip, I have to say, with the fancy zip.
Keep that done up, as you well know.
Absolutely. And there is another admission to make, okay? We are currently effectively knee-deep in coffee because when we were departing Liverpool Street, I put my coffee cup over there on the dashboard. Do they have dashboards on?
You could call it a dashboard, but there are coffee cup holders.
Well, there are, but there was no.
occupied.
Yeah, they were occupied. So I just balanced mine up there just for a second. The whole place flooded with coffee. So we are basically.
Turns out we did just about have enough tissues and newspapers to sort it out.
I think I did a reasonable job as a member of ISIS Cleaners. And it's really interesting to see the difference between the wild technology down underground on the Elizabeth line, and then by comparison, much more normal levels of technology up here. Colour light signals, track power from overhead. It's much more scaled back, isn't it, up here?
It is, and the one thing which I've noticed just standing here is the dash has changed.
Yep.
So we now have this thing called AWS Reset.
What is that? That yellow thing? That
Well,
yellow sunflower
Notice
thing?
that Emma's periodically pressing it, and it's basically acknowledging that you're going through another AWS section, and this is a protection system.
Automatic warning system, is it?
Yeah, that's right. And do you remember all the way back when we went down to travel at Swanage on the multiple unit there was a physical black and yellow dial like that on the dash there.
And what happens then if it changes? Does it change? What happens? Does a yellow...
Well, if we were to disobey it, well, we have the ideal person to explain.
Keith, tell us what happens if I disobey.
If you hear it go off, Emma's got 2 seconds to cancel it. 2 seconds.
That's it?
Yeah.
If you've got a window open, there's a bit of noise, brakes will come on.
Wow.
Doesn't respond to it, brakes on, emergency brake application. You can see the yellow and black. We call it a sunflower, but it looks like a sunflower.
That's what I just called it. How weird is that?
Or the sunflower. So when we've got a cautionary aspect, so double yellow, single yellow, red, we get an AWS horn. You can also get those for emergency speed restrictions or a reduction of speed more than 30 miles an hour. We get a magnet in the track as well for those. Has to be acknowledged by the driver. If we've got a green signal, proceed, just going along, the sunflare goes black, no need to press a button, there's no response needed. And instead of having a horn, we have a bell. So if you're on one of the older trains, diesel locos, 315, physical bell, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
On these, and it's electronic bell, it just goes ding.
Yeah.
It's not as nice, but does exactly the same job.
He's a heritage boy. He's a heritage boy. You'd have loved the Swanage episode because we were on a class 117.
Yeah.
Like a old diesel multiple unit, and everything is so clunky and fabulous and old. But then at the same time, this is just so sleek and beautiful.
Serene,
and I just love that hint of coffee that the cab has. It's just beautiful.
It's like you're trying to sell your house, isn't it? It'll be
I'm
bringing
sticking
in
to the
freshly
floor.
baked bread next.
So glad I don't have sugar in my coffee. Well, that was a rather lovely capital to countryside journey, wasn't it?
Definitely worth the early start. It's been fantastic.
Good stuff. Keith, thank you as always for joining us. What I thought was really interesting is, and we'll see this in a second as we pull into our final destination, Platform 6, is that our gorgeous Emma is going to do something which reminds me of John Travolta and Staying Alive. All right? There is a good reason for this, isn't there? Because
there is.
What she'll do is she'll point like this. And that is what do you call it, a personal
protection strategy.
And effectively that is to remind herself as a human being that she's going to open the doors on the left.
Yeah, people think that all these trains are totally automated. It's not. It's under Emma's full control, even opening the doors on the wrong side. So she protects herself, announces herself, opens the door buttons first.
And as Emma was saying to us earlier, notice she's put her arm on the right hand side here because that's the side of the platform,
look right,
and therefore that's the side.
And because it's personal, each driver does a slight variation. They could be completely different, but most of them are very similar. But they're personal to that one driver. So if we're out assessing a driver, if we're out assessing Emma today, I'll be noting that down. She's carrying on with her PPS systems. Everything's fine. Because once you change one, or you're not consistent with it, that's when an incident could happen, which we don't want for anyone, obviously.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just like my career, we're about to hit the buffers. So this is fabulous. What a lovely little journey. And we've got rain in London after so much drought.
Well, technically outside London here.
Yes, I suppose, yeah. But it's fabulous. And Emma was a beautiful, stunning driver as we knew she would be.
Well, thank you very much. We better let her concentrate on these last few feet. That'd be a bit awkward, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Woo! Staying alive!
Thank you so much, Emma.
Thank you.
So I'm in the priority seat because of my dodgy ankle, Emma.
Well, do you know, it's funny because you've got your priority seat, but look at Emma's socks. London Transport Museum, Elizabeth Line merch. Lovely.
Camouflage your ankles on the seat.
She's lost herself in this seat. I've got a question for you because when you saw me, first of all, you admitted that you watched admitted, like a big admission. Are we as you would expect us to be? Are we the same off camera as we are on?
Yes. You're definitely naughty.
Thank you.
If you see
And you've got a naughty side as well.
I do, but I have to keep them in order generally on camera.
Tries really hard. Tries really hard. How was the journey up here?
It was restrictive signals, so a bit slow.
Yeah.
But we got here.
At the end of a shift, how do you feel? Is it really shattering? Is it really tiring?
Some shifts can be. If it was going to be like this for the whole day, then it would be quite the brain. You know, you've done a day's work.
Yeah.
It's a mental tiredness. Obviously, it's not a physical tiredness. But again, and then other days you feel like you haven't even been to work. So.
You've been thrust into the media spotlight really by this railway line. I mean, you know, we were talking, weren't we, earlier about nerves and and anxiety, and I said to you that I was bullied when I was a kid, and it makes you so nervous. Do you feel that getting this job and being on telly and all those different things has kind of grown you as a person?
Obviously, I never realised I was going to be on the telly. That was something that my manager put me forward. My first ever payment was a donut. So
a donut, I love that. I love that.
But Scott has helped as well. It's that the TV side wasn't something that I thought, and I'm embracing it now. If it only lasts, if today's the last one, then I've definitely had fun. But that will never take from the job itself, which is just amazing.
You must meet Siddy and Laura as well. They would love you. They would love you. They would love you.
Now, I've had the privilege of travelling in a few cabs with Alex, and he's forever playing with his whistle when he's in there. Do you reckon that Alex, he's clearly a frustrated...
He didn't say horn.
He's clearly a frustrated driver. Do you think Alex would make a good train driver?
I'll take him under my wing.
Oh, she's just adorable.
Couldn't be a better
She's
tutor.
just adorable. She's absolutely adorable. Thank you so much for today. And
Thank you.
You know what? It's so lovely to know that people like you are looking after us when we're travelling around, because it's the heart and it's the soul and it's the enthusiasm for the job that makes it so special. And so thanks ever so much for welcoming us into your cab.
Thank you.
Thanks for being part of our living rooms for so long as well.
Oh, thank you. And it was great to meet you both. I'm really chuffed.
Travel with you anytime. Thank you very much. Great.
Thank you.
Oh, what a lovely day. And the great thing about it was that you get to see a brand new railway and how that brand new railway is working on an old railway and the differences between how the trains operate. And I thought, Chris, well, number one, I was really struck by how Keith, our train manager, driver, all-round good egg really, could just go from being supervisor to just jump into the driver's seat whenever he wanted. Press a couple of buttons, it's like, yep, my train now. It was very, very smooth and seamless, I thought.
He was a train driving ninja. He really was. Just sort of leapt into the seat and immediately took control. And he, you know, when you're around somebody who's really good at what they do and it just kind of exudes from them, it was one of those, wasn't it? It just the confidence with which he was driving the train was great to see. It was also really lovely just to be around a group of people where we were all fanning at each other. It was like, oh, wow, great work. Yeah, you're great work as well. So it was a very affirming way to spend a day.
It was the weirdest of moments, though, because when we were waiting at Abbey Wood and we'd all got coffee, so Chris felt a little bit more alive. It was all right. And I was only joking. And our lovely ninja driver arrived and she came over and she said, oh, fangirl. And I'm thinking, presumably I've got to fangirl you because you've been on the telly all the time. Or so I went, I'm so much a fangirl. So much. She went, no, of you guys. And I didn't realise, but she watches us all the time. And there's something, I mean, I have to say, there's something deeply flattering when you're walking down the road or you're standing at a platform and someone spots you. And you get this all the time, Sid. It never ceases to be joyful, does it?
No, it's always really fun. And it's very, it never ceases to amaze me. I'm always sort of like, what? Who?
Me?
So it's really lovely and such a shame that we couldn't meet Emma. But Emma, if you're watching, hi. Thank you so much for letting the boys go on your train. Laura and I are really sorry we missed you, but I'm sure we'll get to meet another day, right, Laura?
Yeah, I am sorry we missed it too. I am wondering though if the boys were maybe a little bit more of a hindrance than a help. tiny bit. But to be fair, I was loving the energy in the driver's cabin. The views obviously are spectacular, and what just lovely people. Isn't it nice, like you guys have said, to just meet lovely people with such a great can-do, I love my job, I will help you see what I do kind of way. It's what makes these episodes as kind of personal and for people to connect to them as much as they do. I thought it was a really lovely episode. Well done, guys. Bar Alex and the coffee.
Thank you. Bar me and the coffee. I mean, that was quite a spillage. It was, and it's awful. I hate making mistakes. And the coffee was a big cup, and for some reason we've been bought big cups of coffee, which I dread because there's more to spill, and it went everywhere. We were using Metro newspapers to try and mop it up. It was so bad. It was like this coffee slick slashing around. It was awful. And of course, we have to say well done to Sham, who is the loveliest, most fun driver, just brilliant. And he took us back into London from deepest, darkest burbs, but it was just so nice. So yeah, a really lovely day. You're absolutely right, Laura, when you say about the people who just love their job. It never ceases to amaze me how excited people are to share their energy and love for their job with you. It happens all the time. And, you know, Sid, we see this all the time when we go to stations, don't we? People just love their gig.
Yeah, and it's a real pleasure because, you know, Transport for London and those who work in the rail industry, it's a real family and everyone looks after one another and has a real pride and joy in what they do. And so it's a real pleasure for us to come in and, you know, we feel very much on the kind of periphery and get to just do the fun things of showing people the brilliant work that the people are doing. Lots of people in that sentence, sorry. But it does truly feel that. And I've got to say, guys, very exciting that you got to do a cab ride, because since COVID, I think that's the first time we've been allowed in a cab that's, you know, operational for quite some time. So bit of a new one for us there.
And we've got a new exclusive as well, actually. And I'll tell you all when this is finished what we've got planned, because it's really cool and we're all invited before the public get on it as well, which is going to be really, really cool. So Emma Knowles, thank you so much, beautiful. You are just lovely. Your heart is so warm and your skills are so great. We love you. And I'm so glad they made you a bit of a poster girl for that railway line, because the Elizabeth line is a stonker. Keith Valler as well. Well, you know, the heart, Angora on my card, it goes stiff whenever you're around. Sham, Dar, we love you too. And finally, and I have to put my glasses on for this one, because my little penfold, Scott from MTR, the man who makes everything happen for us, the lovely, lovely Scott, thanks for arranging all of that and making it go so smoothly, because you are just our busy mate. So thank you very much. A couple of comments, actually, after the last series. Wow, Bond Street, last episode of Series 5, huge amounts of lovely, lovely stuff. A fantastic episode to end a fantastic series. Already excited for Series 6, says Gaz Ritchie. Keep up the great work. Have a good break and enjoy the time off. Don't break a tooth. Whoops. See, it's always nice, isn't it, as well, to get this. And I do hope in Series 6, Sids, that we get loads more of these lovely comments, because we love them. And questions about where we want to go next and stuff like that. Bit of feedback's always nice, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, and it's good. You know, there's been loads of times where people have written, you know, what about this? What about that? Site as a future episode, and it's really helped us with some planning and some coming up with ideas. So please do let us know what you'd like us to cover and where you'd like us to go, because it does help us figure out what we should program in next, and it's exciting sometimes.
Yeah, it's good. Also this one, and you'll love this one, Nixie. Stephen Selby says, I still think that railway companies should have recorded the sound of the old Solari board clacking away before they decommissioned them. I bet someone did. And this is going back to the Bond Street episode, where there's a beautiful piece of artwork as you go descend the escalators. And it looks like those old clatterboards, as I nickname them, where the destinations used to flap over. I'm sure there is sound effects of that somewhere, isn't there, Chris? Must be.
Yeah, I bet if you dig away in the recesses of the internet, you'll find it. It's a bit like, do you remember the sound of the teleprinter on Grandstand bringing in the football results? It's similar sound from a similar era.
Nick Harrison says, stratospheric series. Thank you so much, Laura. We've gone stratospheric, Laura.
I mean, very cool words, and I like it a lot.
Well, that's excellent. And Bernard, finally, fantastic architecture, practical and safe for the 21st century. It's no wonder the project has been such a success. So there we are. That is just a small selection of millions of messages that we've had, which has been fantastic. Now, before we go, I must just explain why next week's episode is so good. Not only after, when we started doing this, do you remember lockdown number 1? Remember, anybody? It was a long, long time ago. And we thought, didn't we, Siddy, that we were only going to do 4 episodes of this?
Oh God. I mean, all of us. Do you remember? Yeah, it was end of March, wasn't it? 20th of March or something, 23rd of March, when we all went into lockdown. Remember they were saying, you know, well, it's going to be until at least the 30th of April. We're all like, what? That's mental. Little did we know that what was going to happen then. But yeah, I can't believe it's been 100.
No, I know. And we go looking back on that, you know, when you think about it, we're all relatively new to all this. Cindy was a, you know, actress and presenter, but in a very different sphere where you know, effectively learn your lines and you perform something. This was something that was a lot more raw, where we were exposing our personalities and everything else to you guys. And I think we all had a little bit of a wobble about it when we first started. But you know what? We sort of clustered together, gave each other a massive hug. And what episode 100 is on its way. I'm going to ask you all for one word about our location. We have saved this. Well, we've saved it for 6 series because it's so good. Chris, I'm going to come to you first. If you could sum this station up in one word, what would it be?
I'm going to go with dusty.
Oh, okay. Laura, I'm going to come to you next. What word would you use to sum up episode 100's venue?
I am going to go with the word journey.
Oh, okay. I get that. Siddles, what have you got for me?
I'm going to do a hyphenated word. So it's
Oh.
Hang on, that's 2.
No. There's one word. There's one word.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing.
Interesting, because mine is anatomy. And we are going to a station, not with a skeleton hanging up.
Wait, so journey to the dusty, mind-blowing anatomy? I like it.
Do you know, I've met a few people like that, actually. But weirdly, we are going to... Should we tell them where we're going?
Yes.
Ooh.
Well, actually, Chris maybe can do a good reveal.
I can.
Yes,
So
Yes.
here we go. We are going to
Drum roll.
North End, otherwise known as Bull and Bush.
And I absolutely promise that your minds will be blown by this station. The story of it is brilliant. You're going to love it. And we can't wait to show it either. Honestly, it was such a good day, such good exploration. And because this is a trip that we can't open to the public, this is a full disclosure trip. So you'll see the lot. It's going to be fantastic. So first of all, Chris, thank you so much for coming back for Series 6. I'm so glad.
It's great. I can't believe we made it, but it's really good to be back with you all. Thank you.
Siddles, she's back. So good. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you all next week for the big 100.
And Laura, I'm so glad to see your bit of moquette as well. It always makes me feel much happier when it's not just me who's got Transport Museum merch around.
Yeah, do you know, I've got cold toes today. I should have the old Route Master socks on, but no, I have my mug, and this is now part of the set dressing. It's and my cats really love sleeping on it as well. I think they really love the texture of the moquette. I feel like we're all wearing light colours today in like homage to the summer. Maybe it's coming to an end, and we're going into autumn. But yeah, good to see you guys. It's been a while.
I know, and I've got to kind of remember how I do this normally. So thank you very much.
Cindy's quite good at it too, to be fair.
She's very good at it. She's very, very good at it. Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's the best place to find us. It's Alex Grunden, Chris Nick, City Holloway, Hidden London Law, and at LT Museum. You've obviously found us on YouTube. Thank you very much. Remember to like and to subscribe and to comment down below with the thoughts on the shows and also places you'd like us to go. And as always, and it's not going to change, have yourself a great day.
And stay safe.
Someone was going to do it.